let's call the meeting to order. Let's have roll call.
Mayor Truman.
Here.
Councilmember Colbert.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Councilmember Reed. Here. Councilmember Anderson. Councilmember Gregory. Here. Councilmember Kerstetter.
Here.
Councilmember Evans.
Here.
Councilmember Stamp.
Present.
Let's all put a stand for the invocation and pledge allegiance. Invocation.
Okay, thank you. I'm Marla Rains of Life Point Church. Lord, your word says that where there is many in a council, that plans will prosper. And so we just pray that over this council today, that all of the decisions would be just made with wisdom and knowledge of your spirit. In Jesus' name.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Okay, approval of tonight's agenda. We need to add the continuation of the budget workshop as under new business item C.
Move to approve the budget as amended.
Second.
I mean, the agenda as amended.
And that's second, Bill.
Sorry.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as amended. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to the council minutes of May 20th.
Make a motion to approve the minutes of May 20th, 2025, regular council meeting as presented.
Second. Have a motion and a second to approve the council minutes of May 20th. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to presentations and proclamations. I don't have any tonight. So we'll move on to the public forum. Is there anyone here from the public that'd like to address the council on anything that's not on the agenda? Nobody? Okay. Moving on to appointments. I have appointment Travis Bryant to the Rec Commission. He's being reappointed, right? Yeah, reappointed. Terms ends in June 2029.
Move to reappoint Travis Bryant to Rec Commission Board.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to reappoint Travis Bryant to the Rec Commission Board. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to old business. Ordinance numbers 1426-25. Speed limit. This is second reading.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you said, it's the second reading to reduce the speed limit in Richfield edition. Any questions?
Yeah.
The current speed limit 30 or 25? 30.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 1426-25, which establishes the maximum speed limit of 20 mile an hour within Richfield development for second reading. Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the ordinance number 1426-25, second reading. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Thank you.
Moving on to item B, discussion regarding Wagon Tail Ranch sign.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Happy Wet Tuesday. Before you is a continuation of the discussion that was amended to the agenda last time, as requested by you all. Staff memo is attached with documents. Stand for any questions.
Any questions? I have one, someone from the public wants to make comment. Jared, state your name and your address, please.
Jared West, 114 Oakwood, Alexander. I have a couple of comments about this whole issue. One being, I've lived here about 20 years. It's always been well known that if you're going to build something with an easement, public right of way, if something's going to happen to it, you're taking that risk. I also know after talking to, let me get the information so I can say something. Rod Stewart with Sedgwick County. Sedgwick County is involved in this project. Sedgwick County has a contract with Pearson-Dixon that anything that's in a public right-of-way that they destroy or remove, they're responsible for. Well, I guess my biggest part is why is it even why is it up for discussion other than to cause conflict, berate people on social media? That's all this is about. The other question I have is, if the city is going to spend $1,800 for a business that's not in Valley Center, a business that's never been in Valley Center, when is Valley Center going to pay for my small business to have a sign? And I could bring about 12 other small businesses that I spoke to this week that would like signs paid for by the city. If they pay for this sign, they're starting a slippery slope, because I'll tell you what, I could use advertising. I spend a lot on advertising my business. And if the city wants to start paying for it, I want to have it, because it's not right. Nobody's tax dollars should pay for that.
What do we have from Pearson? Oh, here it is. Dale.
I agree with, I didn't catch your name. I don't think we should pay for it. It seems to be Pearson's. I also wasn't here last meeting, so I did not catch a lot of the discussion last meeting. So if I missed something, let me know. It seems like Pearson should help or take care of the cost, but yet it's also in a right of way. And I'm fairly certain that when it was voted for back in, it says 2018, that they were aware of the potential of needing to be moved from the right of way. I don't know if that was, it's not in the minutes, but
I'm trying to get it.
okay. I'll wait.
While we're looking that up, can I ask Stacy a question? I saw her here.
Yeah, get back there.
Is this total replacement of your sign? It's $1,900. Is that the cost of the whole new sign?
The whole new sign.
Yeah, because Pearson's has agreed to put the posts in, right? It's just vinyl covering on the sign.
Right.
Is that the whole cost of the sign?
Yes, the vinyl sign.
Well, the reason I ask that's because it's been up there at least 6 years. It's got to have some wear and tear on it
Sure does.
that Pearson shouldn't have to pay for.
I
You know what
understand
I'm
that.
saying?
I also understand that sign was put there, that when I put it there, they said, if anything, if it needs to be taken down, I have to take it down. Nobody's supposed to touch it. Before the project, I started this in October, working on this, trying to figure out what we're going to do, how we're going to get people where we're, to my place. And I talked to, and I'm gonna have the name wrong, Rodney, it starts with an E. I talked to him about it. If that sign needed to be moved, holler at me. I'd be happy to do it. I talked to Brent. I've told everybody, let me handle it. That's the only reason I'm after this.
Well, I guess we pretty well admitted we dropped the ball on notifying getting the sign moved. As far as Pearson goes.
No, Mayor. And so if you reflect in the minutes, it does not state that in the minutes. When Stacy and Wagon Tails contacted us, it was at the phase of the project when the fence went up on that site, when Pearson brought in their construction trailer and they wanted to secure that area. And so that was well before the roundabout portion of that project was done. So we said, no, nothing's going to happen to your sign at this point. It's fine where it is now. And then when Pearson went to move it during the project, and just to set it aside so it wasn't in the way, is when the poles broke. And then it tipped over and damaged the roof. And so as noted in my staff memo, the minutes are included as well, if you want to scroll down there, Clint. I'm not sure what was said during the meeting, but at least what's reflective in the minutes does not show that there was supposed to be any special notification to that business owner. I will also note that the sign permit was in the amount of $400 both times for the total cost.
Well, I guess I'm not sure where the city's involved in this. It's kind of between Pearson and Wagon Tail. Dale, go ahead.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. I don't think that it's why I don't understand why we're having this conversation. Let's put it that way. I know I wasn't here at the last meeting. I'm not sure why we're having this conversation when it should be between Wagon Tails and Pearson.
And Pearson's. If I was Pearson's, I wouldn't pay $1,900 because the sign's 5 years old and the vinyl's going to show some wear and tear. I mean, for a new sign.
Well,
that's why I asked the question.
Mr. Mayor, I don't even think we should have that discussion. I think it's between Pearson and Wagon Tails.
And Councilmember Kurtsetter, it was amended onto the agenda by Councilmember Anderson.
And he's not here this evening too. Okay, so I make a motion, we move on.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. You just move on and let this work out between Wagon Tail and Pearson's. Any other questions, comments?
No, this is for discussion only. I actually didn't need a motion, correct? Where's our Arbuckle at so we can ask that question?
Got a motion and a second, didn't we?
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor of the motion, signal by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Gina?
I just have one question. We have not seen the damage that has been done to the sign. Have you?
Councilmember Anderson sent me pictures,
Okay.
but I had requested it from the business owner per my email and request to from the governing body, from the mayor, to get in contact with Wagon Tails, but I did not receive it.
Okay. Thank you. I have no problem with moving on.
As I explained to Brent, I don't do my email on my phone. I sent those pictures all to Ben. He said he sent them to everyone else. I'm sorry you didn't see them. And the only reason I'm here is because I feel that it's a Valley Center project and they dropped the ball. Someone dropped the ball between there. It's not my fault that the sign is destroyed. That's the only reason I'm here, because it's your project. I was also told it was KDOT project, but it's not. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
It's actually a county project. They're turning it over to us after it's constructed, correct?
When I talked to the county commissioner, he said he had nothing.
It's okay. We're finished here. Moving on to new business, public PBS Kansas city sponsorship.
I think this is the first time in my 6 years almost that Victor did not come.
That's what I was looking for.
And Victor said he was coming, and so something must have happened. I didn't hear from him.
There's a lot of flooding out there.
Yeah.
And so, well, everything's drained away now. And Valley Center just took a minute. And so here is the request from PBS. I know PBS has been a great partner with the city of Valley Center over the last few years. I know since 2019, we've really fully executed our agreement. They're supposed to develop a commercial on a regular basis. And so we finally started taking advantage of those things that were in the agreement. We did increase it to $5,000 a few years ago. The $3 is because we're in this challenge, kind of it's this competitive thing between the city of Derby and the city of Valley Center. And so every year we increase by $1 each. And it's, yeah, Kyle, their city manager, and I, it's kind of funny. So that's why he puts $5,003 is because it's $1 more than what the city of Derby is doing for this year. And so that's part of the challenge. Part of this, we did not produce a commercial last year. We kind of wanted to hold back and save and get 2 done for the next year because of kind of the way some of the projects were lining up. We didn't think that they would be camera ready for what we wanted. And I actually really wanted to wait for Kyle to come on board and get his feet wet before we figure out exactly what we wanted to do with the next commercial, since that is in the community development side of things for advertising. As you can see here is all the benefits. This also does include the mayor's spotlight. And so Mayor Truman did go down and record that, when he took office. And so that is played on a regular basis on PBS as well. Now we did look, at, kind of transitioning a few of these funds and dollars to the Valley Center Historical Society this past year. But, if council so chooses, it's really up to what you want to support. We can figure out a way to financially afford it within Kyle's budget that he's getting used to us dipping into when it comes to these community development spotlights here. So did not do near the job that Victor would have done, but I know that Victor is very proud of the new building or newer building now, I guess, that they moved into. If you've been with me before on those telethons, the new space or newer space is absolutely, 10 times better than the closet that they were in before on 21st Street. And so they continue to improve their facilities and improve their services and quality programming that they do for the area. If you checked out here recently, we've had our own Valley Center graduate that has a show, Melvin Mania, that is also on that air as well. So Valley Center does get a lot of attention and a lot of free highlights as well. So they came out and did the ribbon cutting for the rec center and some of those things too that you'll see kind of when he does his added values of what actually it costs for some of those things that they do.
I was going to wait for somebody else, but so we stole some of this, for lack of a better term, money that we were
Reallocated.
I like that word better. We reallocated some of the money that we were going to give to PBS Kansas to give to the Historical Society. At that time, I stated that I would rather it go locally than PBS Kansas. I still stand by that. And do you want to talk about your little document?
This document is not online. I can't show it. Last time we did this, I made a page sheet. A couple of you said you appreciate that, so I'm just going to update it today. We started the year with $20,000. I'm just going to recap quickly. We have $14,541 left to spend in 2025. budget items remaining were $800 for 2026 home show, $5,000 for fall festival. That's an additional $5,822. That would leave us with $8,741 left in the budget this year. The remaining expenses for that we have are PBS and billboard advertising for our subdivision. So I kind of put some options down there. It would look like if we fully funded it, or if we did not fund it all, or between the two, just so you guys can kind of see how things might line out. But I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Again, it's just kind of a quick recap, letting you know where I'm at.
Based off of what Kyle said about billboards, I'm not sure we should fully fund PBS Kansas yet. I don't know. I like options 3. That way we give a little bit more for billboards or your social media advertising. I don't remember what you said about that, but that's my 2 cents. Or we could do option 4 and option 3 is my choice.
And just so you know, with whatever decision you make, if you reduce it, then it just changes the total number of spots and just some of the services that we get. I don't have those amendments, in front of you for tonight. And so, if that was something you wanted to consider, or have Victor come up with a few different options based upon what the option that Clint came up, we can surely, table this and ask him to come back with what that looks like as far as sponsorship for the $2,741.50 versus the $4,000 and so on and so forth. So do want to make sure that you do know that you have that option tonight as well, if you so choose.
Matt?
I have a question on the budgeted remaining items. I thought we decided we weren't going to do the home show next year. I thought we kind of talked about that.
I visited with Kyle just this morning about that. Right now, he's leaning against it, but it's not going to be done. He is considering possibly teaming up with another city organization to kind of split a booth. So I left that in there for now as kind of a placeholder. There is possibly an additional $800 in the scenarios at the bottom, but right now, Kyle says it's a maybe, so I'm going to leave that in there for now.
And I'd actually go with option 5, none of the above. I'd do away with PBS and a billboard. To me, a billboard's an impulse thing. You're going up the highway, you want to pull in and get Burger King or stop and get fuel. It ain't, let's stop and buy a house. There's other areas you can look for. I mean, I was looking at a house today in Emporia for my son, and I started looking at all their other houses. I think people go to the internet more than driving up the highway for a house. That's my opinion.
Kyle also talked about Facebook advertising and different social media type options as well. By no means is this billboards is our only option for advertising, which is something we explore.
Okay.
Yes, there's many different ways that Kyle's team can spend that money.
I'm like Councilman Kirsten, I'd rather leave that money for local people than give it to PBS.
Chris?
How long have we been sponsoring PBS?
I could tell you it's been since 2019. And I know that it was a few years prior to that. And so, I mean, I would probably, in the 6 plus, 6 to 8 range. Some of you that have been on council may know longer. Councilmember Gregory, Stam, Colbert.
So the reason I'm asking is I understand what they're saying, but at the same time, just to stop like that, I think is wrong. I think that we should definitely take a look at what we can try to provide them and what services we could get if we did lessen it. Now, the billboard, I agree. I don't think a billboard's really something that maybe we need to concentrate our funds on per se. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't want to just nix PBS off the giddy up.
We have had, we've received, radio packages, TV packages as well for advertising. So it's not just billboards, advertising just as that marker or that placement marker for just funds in general. So, I mean, you can customize any of those schedules and get those for, a few dollars for 30 seconds. And so we do have more than just billboards as far as options to advertise and opportunities. Also, too, I will say, looking at the funds and, we just went through the budget workshop here, beginning at 6 o'clock. Next year is going to be, we're going to tighten the belt even more And so, a total of 15,000, and that includes, a lot of the organizations that we have funded for many years. And so, if it is a partial this year, it'll be up to the council then for 26 on what that dollar amount might be as well. So it might be a good thing to stagger it back, or to do one of those options.
Amy?
Yeah, I did do some research on other partner cities with PBS and cities that are not partners. Cities that are not partners are all the cities around us: Newton, Park City, Sedgwick, Mays, Keachai, Andale. None of them are partner cities. There's 8 others outside of us and Wichita. But most of them in this general area are not partner cities. And I agree with Councilmember Stam that our money should be spent. I fully endorse advertising, absolutely. But I think it's better on the digital side than something like this. Nobody watches TV anymore. And I know there's a part that you can put on social media, but the way contract's written, it sounds like it's only for that year and that's it. So kind of option 5 as well.
It is that, and typically Victor brings a whole, little folder, and does reach 245,000 households daily is that PBS. So with the antenna is what the free broadcasting opportunities is what a lot of the PBS shows, and yes, a lot of the communities around don't sponsor, and that's kind of one of the niches that we found. At least started in 2019 when we started doing more of the phone bank and the telethons and being more involved with PBS to capture an audience that the surrounding communities weren't. And now, is that still successful? That's up to you all. I don't know how you measure that. I know that we got into it thinking we were only going to do the telethon for the winter telethon. Remember that, Councilmember Gregory? And then I didn't realize every month they call to have us volunteer for a telethon. And so we used to do a lot more than we do as of late, but I think the same volunteers that did it got a little burnt out. And so, that's something where we can still hopefully continue those partnerships if it's not monetary.
Gina?
I do still watch TV. I watch PBS practically every day. It gives me a great deal of pride when I see our mayor talking about being from Valley Center, when Anthony Powell has done a piece for Positively Kansas on the new rec center. That was great. Did it on our Authors and Artists event a few years ago. I think we have things in Valley Center that we need to highlight to the larger community, including Wichita, Sedgwick, Andale, Newton. I would hate to see us lose this resource. I don't know, we don't have enough money to do the 5,000, obviously, but I would like to see us do what we can.
Maybe we should table this and have Victor come next meeting.
I make a motion to not partner with PBS Kansas for 2025.
Second.
Have a motion and a second not to partner with PBS in 2025. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign.
4-3.
4-3, so it didn't pass. Right, moving on to, now we need to,
Is there a new motion, or is there a recommendation at table, or what do you want to bring up since it failed to not fund? So, sorry,
Ron.
not to leave you.
Ron,
Yeah, I recommend. With the changes that we have done,
give out awards to the community. I'd like to hear, last year I was a little, not sure what he was saying. And I hope he can come out this time, be a little more specific. That would be favorable to us. So I'll make that one as a motion. The table.
Motion to table it till
I'll
next
second
meeting.
that.
Have the-
Table and have him make one presentation.
Since we're going to table it, have them bring lower amounts of what they're going to offer. Because $5,000, we all agree, is too much.
Anything else, Ron? Have a motion and a second to table the PBS request. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed, same side. Motion carried. Okay, moving on to acceptance of the public dedications from High Point East Estates final plat.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council. Before you this evening is acceptance of dedication of right-of-ways and public easements for the High Point Estates addition or subdivision. This is a 5-acre tract in the High Point neighborhood that the property owner has gone through the planning and zoning process to subdivide into 5 1-acre parcels. After preliminary plat and final plat, the Planning and Zoning Commission did approve both of those. And so now it does come to you for acceptance of the dedication of the right-of-way and public access. Clint, if you could scroll down to the actual plat map, please. Keep going. So this is the parcel. The next one just shows there was, this is part of my staff report, shows the surrounding parcels and size, because that came up quite a bit during the public hearing, and then go down one more. Yep. And if you scroll just a little bit, thank you. This plat does a couple things. Lot 5, so the bottom lot, actually cleans up some easement because the road actually goes across this property currently. So the plat shows that the road right-of-way is a little bit wider there so that the road is no longer on private property. And then there's a 10-foot utility easement along the west edge of the property and then curves around onto the south edge of lot 5. And then lot 1 on the right side, your left, you barely can see it, but there's another 10-foot utility easement that goes up that property to be able to serve lots 2, 3, and 4 from the backside.
The lot right.
Oh, sorry.
He was backwards too.
Yeah. Thank you for that. But yeah, sorry. Right side of lot 1. And anyway, so that's just, you are accepting those as public easements, public right of way by this motion this evening. And then that way, utilities can go into those easements to serve those parcels. And again, this also cleans up the road where it currently is technically going across the corner of that property.
Yeah.
Again, I was not at last meeting. Was this part of our discussion last meeting to approve? So I guess my next question is, Planning and Zoning Board approved the lot split?
The subdivision.
There
is a lot split, but that's for, yeah.
So, because I think that's too many lots in that small of a property.
So
I've actually been out there and it just.
So that did come up during the.
So let me just say something else here, because they don't have sewer or water out there, correct?
They do have rural water. They have rural water.
Okay, but they don't have sewer. So how are they going to get their sewer in there?
They will have septic systems.
Are we gonna have to waive that again for like we'd have in the
That's
past?
already. This is a rural residential or suburb. Sorry, it's RR1 suburban residential. County calls it rural residential. Zoned area which allows for on-site sewer systems. So septic. These lots more than meet the requirement for public water supply with on-site sewer. They have to have 20,000 square foot lot so the public water is the rural water. So and they have to have 20,000 square feet to have a septic system. these lots are about 43,000 square feet. So the lot size are more than double what's required by zoning code to have on-site septic. A lot of the parcels, if Clint wants to go back up one page, this came up a lot during that hearing.
Well, I've gotten an earful about this.
Was the lot sizes, and so all the lots on the right side of High Point Road, all those less than 3/4 of an acre or around 3/4 of an acre, all have on-site sewer as well. So they're a little bit, smaller. They already have on-site sewer. And
Those were not in our city limits before when they were built. Is that
correct.
accurate? So that we can't do anything about that. Dictate's the wrong word. We can say we don't like your idea right now. I think they should be bigger lots, like no less smaller than 2, maybe. I don't know, do 2.5 or I don't know. Anyway, I know I'm going off track here, but I don't like how this is panning out right there, especially with that road right there, how it curves around.
And I appreciate that comment. And just to address that, this plat meets our subdivision regulations for the RR1 district. So all the lot sizes meet our current regulations.
Any other questions?
Mayor, have we had any opposition? Has anybody reached out to the city in opposition of this from the citizens that live around it?
Yes.
Oh, I've got an earful.
Okay,
Yes.
you're saying yes, but I'm showing no documentation from anybody reaching out to the city. And
So during both, sorry to interrupt you.
Sure.
During both public hearings, there was opposition from the neighbors.
Okay.
A lot of it was they were saying the lot size were too small. The traffic that the 5 lots was going to have was going to increase the traffic in the neighborhood. The neighbor to the east was concerned about the septics with their well because they're on well water. They don't have rural water for that house, which the lot size piece, as Dale mentioned, the others were created prior to being in the city. The traffic, 5 additional homes. Who knows how many cars that's going to be, because any of these homes could have someone move into them that has more than 2 cars, or more than is there currently. The well placement of the other property, when they come in to pull their permits for their septic, they have to meet setbacks off their property lines for their septic. Public Works will go through and review to make sure that they're not too close to the property line on that one specifically, because we're aware that the well of the next lot is kind of on that side. We'll have them probably show us that location as well to make sure there's appropriate separation between their lateral field and the well. The atmosphere of the neighborhood was discussed several times because that lot has been empty for, I don't know when those houses originally went in, but that lot's been empty forever. And so a lot of them have said that they'll lose the rural atmosphere if they put 5 houses there. I'm trying to think of other comments that were made. Several did say that they use that lot as I think there's like a mode nature or like a mode path on it or something like that. And I should say the agent for the applicant is here this evening if you have maybe more direct questions for him. But the agent for the applicant reminded the public that spoke that is private property. So if they're using it as a park or a nature trail, it is private property currently. I'm trying to remember if there's any other. Major comment that I hope kind of sums up most of the comments. The other one was East Point Road. That curve is narrow. And I did have Bill go out, one of our code enforcement officers, and the trees are growing out beyond the edge of the road. So it's narrowing the road. So he has sent a letter to that property owner to not to tell them that they have to cut the trees down, but to go out and work with them on trying to get them cleared back so that they aren't encroaching on the road. The other comment that was made was because of that curve, lot 1, which is the east lot, having safety coming out of their driveway. And one of the staff recommendations was that staff would work with them to place their driveway most appropriately when that lot gets built on.
Thank you.
Ron?
Yeah, I'm a little confused here. According to what our recommendation of actions is public deed dedication of High Point Estates. What's all the other talk about?
All of that was during the subdivision process. So for subdivision, planning and zoning reviews and approves subdivisions, and then it comes to the council before it's officially filed with the county. The public dedications have to be accepted by the governing body. And so that's the step that we're on. Is we've gone through the preliminary plat. The engineer submitted the preliminary plat. Staff made comments on that. They submitted it back to us. That went for planning and zoning. Had a hearing, was approved. Then they submitted a final plat. Staff made comments, was sent back to the engineer. They resent it to us. That went before Planning Commission for final approval and had public hearing, and it was approved by Planning Commission. And then the third step, the last step, is to come before the governing body who is accepting dedication of the right-of-way. So the last plat we did was at 93rd and Interurban. You did not accept the dedications because it was county. So the county accepted those because those, even though it was in our extraterritorial jurisdiction, so you as a governing body had final say on it, the county actually accepted the dedications. On this one, it is in the city limits, and so it would come to the City of Valley Center to accept the road right-of-way and the utility easements.
So basically, the county's already accepted the dedication that we really don't have anything to do with.
No, so this one, because it's in the city limits, the county does not review this one. I was just referencing the last one that came to you that went before the county.
Okay, thank you.
Tina?
Yes, Councilman Wilson, there was a lot of opposition to this. Large group of homeowners in High Point, which is High Point Air Park, by the way, not High Point Estates.
Sorry, the subdivision's High Point Estates.
Came to both planning and zoning meetings when this was heard. One of the problems, the septic tanks and the well water are a major problem with it. The streets are, I'm told, 30 feet, which is standard, but a school bus and a car can't go past each other. So I don't know if maybe the ditches are encroaching on the road. Another minor, I don't know why it wasn't cleared up, and the only reason I know this is because my brother owned this property until he died, and his widow sold it. The road was given to the city. I don't know why that hasn't gotten straightened out, but that changed before he died, which was 2 years ago. So I don't know what happened there.
Kirk, I'm going to refer to the applicant for the agent, or agent for the applicant, sorry. Did you see anything when you did any research on this property regarding an easement already on that property?
Kirk Miller, Kate Miller Engineering. Is the question about where the road curves, whether that's been dedicated or not?
No, it's the High Point Road where you
Right in
showed-
that corner where we're dedicating, yeah, there's nothing that showed up that indicated that anything would have been dedicated there. So technically that road is on this property.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a process question for Mr. Fiedler or Mr. Clark. So assuming this gets approved tonight, what happens next?
Then it would be filed with the county and it would be subdivided.
Okay, and then they can start selling the 1 acre lots and building on them. Okay. Oh, that's all I had.
Any other questions or comments? Get a motion to approve. We are just approving the road dedications, right?
No, we're improving the,
We're accepting the
You're-
whole plot.
You're accepting the public dedications that are in the plat. So you're accepting the road right of way and the utility easements that are shown on the plat.
which thereby accepts the plating.
Correct, because and again, the planning and zoning is the one that approves the plat, and it comes to the
Right.
governing body for acceptance of dedication.
I think maybe we need to have a discussion on how some of this process is done. But I'll talk to one of you offline. 'Cause maybe I just don't understand the process very well, which is very possible. But it seems like lately we've had a lot of these processes that are developments that there's little things that we as a council don't appreciate. Yet in the instructions to the planning and zoning board, their hands are tied. So maybe we need to give them more freedom or more different direction. I don't know. It might be a more discussion at a later time, because if I would have known about this, this would have come to here, I would have talked about it more and not voted for the current plat. Let's put it that way.
And I'll help maybe address that. In our subdivision regulations, it is called out as to who's the separation of duties, essentially.
Well, I understand that. I'm just saying that maybe we need to revise it.
Any other questions or comments? We don't have a motion, so I guess this thing just kind of dies.
You have a motion of acceptance, and then you can reject it. I'm not sure what happens at that point. I'll have to consult with our attorney because it's just for public dedication since the plat has already been approved, and so I'm not sure how that works. If then you make adjustments, or have you ever had that before? I'm not sure the process when it comes to if you deny it. Councilmember Sam, have you seen this in your line of expertise?
It's been a few years, so I don't know that. I'm not going to say.
Because it's just for the dedication. So then I don't know, then you change and then you present new dedication on the current plat that has now been approved. So
Move to table it and then you get back with us on that part?
Sure.
Motion to table public dedications for High Point Estates.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to table the acceptance of the public dedication from High Point Estates. Any further discussion? I guess I'd like to make a comment, and that's about all. We've got the planning and zoning board. They do things by the book. People are complaining about their concerns about the sewer affecting the water project, except there's 50 lots up there that right now don't meet current standards. They've been kind of grandfathered in. And if there was any concerns about water pollution, it should be those areas up there. We've done it. Our planning board did everything by the book. It's there. So we table this. I don't know what direction the planning commission is going to take, but we'll work it out. So I have a
it just comes back to you. It does not go back to the planning and zoning. So
it'll just come back to us.
Well, yeah, my motion was for you to talk with Arbuckle.
Right. Yeah, I just want to make sure that was clear that
Okay.
they plan on it going back to planning and zoning, coming back to you.
Right.
It just comes back to you.
Let's come back to us. Okay. Well, I have a motion to table and I have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Okay, moving on to item C. Finish up the budget. Where did we leave that?
Finance and administration. And your handle.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council.
Oh,
This is a continuation from our budget workshop that we did at 6 p.m. tonight. We did not get to Finance and Administration, and Christie and I will be finishing that up. The Finance and Administration Department consists of the following services. We have utility, we have the Finance Department, Human Resources, Information Technology, Senior Services, and Municipal Court. And Christie's going to talk a little bit more about it. For the first time ever, we're going to turn Senior Services into its own department starting in 2026. Actually, it's already started effective immediately, but she'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Here's some of our highlights for the 2025 year, which is kind of the last 12 calendar months from now. Utility billing, purchased new scanners. I completed the mini MPA program. We switched to People's Bank. We have a new Lindley Printer doing a great job as an accounting clerk too. And I joined the Kansas League of Municipalities Finance Board. Human Resources, we transitioned from 4 points per quarter to 20 points per calendar year. We have switched to TrueScript prescription drugs. Information Technology, and I'll talk a little bit more about that here in a bit, but we are trying to move our service to a cloud-hosted data environment. Senior Services is now a separate department and won a very generous grant that is going to give us a bus to transport our seniors to events. In Municipal Court, we have cross-training of all duties and court functions, and we have integrated the Brazos ticket system. So I'm going to let Christie talk about court and senior services, and then I'll be back here.
Court does not have a very large request for increases. There are some. One of them is judges' salaries are going to be given a 10% raise. I think we have held our judge for years and years at the same amount. So this is a good thing. Really, that's salaries, of course, goes up just a little bit. We have budgeted overtime amounts for our court clerk because she is often there. Right now, she's not using a lot of the overtime amounts, but it could go right back up. So small increase, but that's what our court is. It's always been broken out, so just a short increase. Senior Services does have a lot of changes. These are some of the pictures from some of the activities that Charlene has done in the past year. One of them is the Christmas dinner up there on the top left. Right below it, they were doing a pickleball, indoor pickleball ball toss. They went to the museum, and so that's the middle one. The Hand Drum Dan, I believe his name was, he came out and did a presentation, and I heard that he was wonderful. And then another one of the dinners that they had. So dinners Tuesdays and Thursdays, so they can either get drive-through meals or come in and eat and have some fellowship. And then there's just so many activities. Charlene put in that report, probably in April. And so I'll try to get her to do another report of all of their different activities and how many seniors are taking advantage of it. So, but you will see that the budget for this year is zero. Now, we are budgeting for next year, but as Clint alluded to, we have started it now. We realized that Sedgwick County had asked for a breakdown of all the expenses for the senior center. Those had always been just included with admin paying for all of the utilities, for the cleaning, for the supplies. And so it's like, okay, we have a lot of expenses over at the community building and with our senior services. So it has started already. It has been in the admin budget for 25, but it's being split out. So as we're going along through the budget, Clint will kind of allude to that throughout the rest of the year, that something might look a little skewed in it, but the money is there. It's just being rebalanced so that when we fill in the request for the 2026, instead of just the 18,000 that we have been getting for 10 years or longer, we can hopefully get up to that. I have to look for sure the $40,000 level or the $48,000 level, because we are doing a lot of activities. We are providing services for our seniors. It's just not being taken advantage of like we should. The bus will make a huge difference going forward with some of the activities for our seniors. So I'm very excited about that, and give credit to Charlene and to Brent for making sure that we got that grant request in. So that's where I'm at with my senior services and with the board. I'll turn it back over.
Good evening again. I'm going to finish up with the admin budget for the 2026 year. Salaries and benefits, very small increase. Again, we stuck with the same percent raise as the rest of the city. Contractuals have increased for two different reasons. And some of this is a little bit misleading. For instance, the city is going to take on the entire rec center insurance, which is now $32,000 per year to cover that building. However, the rec center is then going to give us a $32,000 check, which will look into revenues, which I will talk about in 2 weeks. So essentially, that's going to be a negative or kind of a wash transaction, so to speak. For now, it's in here. In addition, we are going to transition Valley Center over the next upcoming years to a cloud-hosted environment for servers. We currently have servers, a whole server room here. We have server rooms in other parts of the city, and they all kind of back up each other. We're going to go to a cloud-hosted environment, and admin will be the first department to move in 2026. It will have a one-time cost of $34,615. However, it has an incredible ROI, and we will have $17,000 to $20,000 annual savings every year going forward, infinitely in time once that's done. Once we've done admin department, Lloyd is up next in 2027. So we're just going to kind of take them one at a time, and hopefully here in 4 or 5 years we'll have the entire city onto a cloud-hosted environment and very minimal servers, pretty much minimal to no servers. We'll have to see how that goes. The only other thing that was a large change for the admin budget was in the other missed column. We have about $50,000 increase in the number of property tax rebates. Houses have started selling pretty good. It is a lot higher than the 2025 budget number. So that pushed up that other missed column. And between those three items was really the vast majority of that $143,000 increase over the 2025 budget. Looks like it's a pretty good sized jump, but really all three of them are very good transactions for us. And again, the revenue side's going to wash that $32,000. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
First question I have is regarding the senior department. It's a great idea. My only question is, I guess you probably don't even know that off the top of your head. Like, how much of an increase is it from previous years to this new 2026?
Like, where did the 100,000 come from? You mean, so to speak?
Yeah, basically.
It's really between admin and also Neil's department had quite a bit too. Neil was paying for a lot of the cleaning and the contractuals and all that for that building. So some of that stuff came out of his budget. Some of it came out of the admin budget. In addition, new things like the mowing contracts are now in there, cleaning supplies for the building. It's just kind of an accumulation of everything. And like Christy said, we get right now $18,000 a year reimbursement from the county, and that number can go up and up and up if we can show them demonstratively exactly how much we're spending for that department. So hopefully that $100 and some thousand number is going to be pretty close, but it's really a guesstimate since we're starting year one. But we really did go through very carefully and try to pull as much as we could that was applicable from admin and personnel.
And that still includes the 4% increase for salaries, like everybody else. I'm assuming. And then the next question I have is overall budget. You've done a lot of cost savings for us over the last year. How does that translate into this new budget?
That's going to be 2 weeks from tonight, and I'm just going to kind of end with that it is looking like there's going to be good news with some property tax reduction for the Citizens Valley Center. A lot of it is driven, Kelly Arnold is our county clerk, and he, by June 15th, he has to give me our total tax valuation and revenue neutral. And until I have that, I'm just not going to commit to a number because everything dominoes off that.
Okay.
He has told me, I'm friends with him, he's told me we should land in the 8 to 9% range, but there's a big difference even between 8 and 9. I've right now built the entire budget on 8.5, but it may come in higher or lower than that. And once I get through that, Brent and I can take a final pass, but I think you guys are going to be very pleased to us.
Okay, so to be continued on that answer. Perfect.
So let me just, last couple of slides here. This is just an overall, everything that you've seen tonight with all the different departments, how it adds up. And again, I know it looks like we're getting a pretty good jump from 2025 budget, 2026 requested. Some of those expenses are passed through, so to speak, and you're going to see that revenues have climbed. I have a really tight budget this year, so again, we should. Next steps, like I kind of mentioned, I will have that valuation by June 15th. 2 weeks from tonight, I will do the full budget presentation for all the other departments, and I will be giving you that information and kind of letting you know how everything's rolled up for the year. And that kind of concludes it. If there's any final questions for me, or if you'd like to bring another department back up if you thought of something later, I'd be happy to answer anything, or
I'm going to jump back to the senior group there real quick. So with that $100,000 budget, how much is that has kind of moved some of the expenses off of the library?
But what we do is we split that building 50-50 between the library and now senior services. So essentially, they're going to be responsible for 50% of the expenses, and senior services is going to have 50% of it.
And how did you come up with 50%? Because that doesn't seem right. That seems a little bit off compared to how much seniors are using that center versus what part or how the percentage of that building is used by the library.
I can just tell you that that's the kind of the ratio that we used before I got here, but if that's something that you'd like us to revisit, then we'll answer.
I just think about, just overall square footage of the building that's used by the library, what is used by the citizens when it comes to the people that go to the library versus what is being used by seniors, things along that lines. It just seems like to me that there should be a heavier weight towards the seniors part of it because of their use of the building versus what the library uses.
And Neil can correct me if I'm wrong here. So they really calculated that off of based on square footage. Price when the building was built. Those numbers aren't changing at all. We're just simply separating out from the admin side and from Neil's budget side. So all property tax funds that we already expend now, we're just separating out and creating the senior services that's extrapolated from the admin side. Now, part of that agreement was also then the library doesn't pay any additional when they use the community center rooms. The lobbyway is a shared space with the community bathrooms and then also the display cases and some of those things. And so I think that's how the breakdown when that building was built, Neil, correct me if I'm wrong, is the way that it still continues to this day. The senior services, and the community center side of it, they cover a lot of the 100% of some of the fire suppression inspections when it comes to the hood. That's in the kitchen, some of those repairs to the dishwasher over the years. Sorry, that's an ongoing issue. And then some of those other HVAC related things, a lot of times the general fund does take on a larger part of that burden. So I think we have a great relationship with the library. Janice, attends our department head meetings. We hear from her on a daily basis on how things are operating between the two. And so if that's a discussion that you'd like us to have more with the library board and the council, we were happy to do that.
Thank you, appreciate it. I just think about how the cleaning that takes place in that open room when it's used by so many people compared to, somebody walking into the library throughout the day. There's a couple people that walk through the library. I'm just thinking about that piece of it too, is that the clean piece is a lot heavier on that community side in that room, and whoever uses it, that tends to get pretty messy. So
I perhaps didn't answer correctly, but there are some expenses, like Brent said, on mowing and cleaning that essentially are.
Well, I was just saying on the cleaning side, I'm not sure, Neil, that's why I brought up Neil. We're just having a discussion here. And so is that split evenly, or when we have our community center rentals, when we call back the cleaning service for those community, I don't believe that whole bill is split 50-50 every time. And so if you want to elaborate.
Sure. Like for instance, when we do have rentals, those are borne by, that cost is borne by the user. The rental.
correct.
For instance, on the overall cleaning for the building, it's essentially, it's about 50, it is cut 50-50 in half. We did originally, look at the square footage when the building was first built, took that into consideration, the fact that they're going to use some of the common spaces too, like Brent indicated, specifically and be responsible for cleaning in those areas as well. It worked out to where we added a little bit for custodial supplies, and they're happy, and they made it pretty much 50-50 right down the middle. So, if I answered your question, but that's how we came up with the breakdown originally for that type of service with all the different fire suppression. We just went through this stuff recently, but fire inspection, annual stuff, 5-year rebuilds, the alarm inspection stuff. We pretty much split all that. We split all that stuff right down the middle, with the exception of, like Brent indicated, the kitchen hood. That's specific to the seniors, the community use side. So they shouldn't have to pay for the side of it. So.
Just want to make sure we're getting our, the most out of that budget in order to show Sedgwick County that is being used, and therefore the funding can be allocated properly from Sedgwick County.
Even all the way down to utilities.
Yep. And Councilmember Colbert can speak more to this, but I think in 2019 when I first started, I think we're getting maybe 10,000 a year, and then that increased to I think 14 or 16,000, and then it increased down to 18,000. And so to really, Mayor and I sat down with Commissioner Beatty, and we're trying to see, how we can capture more of those county funds to help offset those expenditures that we do have. And so this is part of that process that we're trying to, capture more of those county senior services funds of hopefully getting to that 38, 40,000 plus range. But I know that Councilmember Colbert does sit on that county senior services advisory board, on our behalf and also on the behalf of all the seniors in Valley Center. So he can speak more to that side of the house.
Right now, I can't say too much because it's already started. The one section of the senior services that I'm going to be watching this year is when we go around to each senior citizen. The centers plus the other, there's two categories. There's centers, and then there's I don't have my list, but there's about 9 of them that get priority as far as the county is concerned. The senior citizens come in last, as usual. If I understand correctly, you're looking at 40,000 if you want to get this year. I'd say you wouldn't even get maybe $2,000 increase, 20,000. I'm just saying right now, that's all I can say. until they get everything done and ready to present the budget to the BOCC, which will be in September or October. Then we'll have an idea. So until we get that taken care of in the next 3 months, I'll have a general idea of what I'm going to recommend to the council. Money.
She was really the one, she was leaving here, she kept trying to make my hair and saying, I think there's an opportunity here for the city to reduce our money. And then she expressed those opinions off to Brent and Christie, and everybody's kind of ran with it. So she did a great job identifying this. And again, if nothing else, even if the money's not going to be there short term, I think this is the right way to run this business, especially with the new van coming on. And I think over time, hopefully we'll see that money, that reimbursement go up, and this will prove to be a good decision. You know, for now we're giving it a shot, and if it doesn't make any sense a few years down the line, we can always reverse it back if we need to. Questions?
Okay, moving on to the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Moving on to staff.
Sorry, I'm voting. Yeah. Yes. Just sorry. Forget it. We're not gonna vote against.
The vote was in favor.
Yes, it was in favor of. Sorry, Chris. Back to our naps.
Moving on to staff reports. Kyle?
Just wanted to let you all know the farmers market will be again. First one for June will be again this Thursday from 4 to 7:30. I believe we have 22 vendors signed up. One food truck and Breezy's will be there, so it's going to be a hopefully big turnout. Hopefully the weather holds out for us on Thursday. And then only because this just happened today and we had a lot of calls in our building about flooding. I think last meeting I told you that we had gotten our recertification for the CRS community. So if you have flood insurance in Valley Center, you get 15% discount. Just wanted to let everyone know if you have any questions about flood insurance, flood proofing, things that you can do to keep your property safe from flooding, to please call the community development department. And also, if you do want flood insurance or need flood insurance, it is not effective for 30 days after you purchase the policy. So you cannot call when the floodway is 3 feet from the top to get flood insurance. That happened today. Stand for any questions.
Good, thank you. Yep.
Good evening again. I'd just like to give out a shout out to one of my employees, William Dillman. He's our lead supervisor in our department, and he recently passed his CPSI class. CPSI stands for Certified Playground Safety Inspector course. It's a course that's administered by the National Park and Rec Association. A lot of you probably haven't heard of it, but it's a very valuable tool for us, and it's a very difficult test to pass. It's like 150 questions, closed book. It's 2 days of coursework. It's kind of a big deal for our department for a certification like that. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him, and I'll just read a brief excerpt from NRPA about what that is and what that sort of does for us. The value that it adds to our community is that it's a very comprehensive training program on playground hazard identification, risk management methods, that are offered, learn nationwide. So it's a national program. You learn how to identify those hazards on your public playgrounds, and you look for those things that help mitigate our risk and keep our citizens, children, people who use the parks safe. Essentially, they apply that knowledge and do safety inspections for the city on playgrounds, and it's a very valuable tool. So I just wanted to give a shout out to him and recognize him for his achievement.
Yeah. Wood? Rodney's right here. PC?
Good evening. I'll give a couple project updates, street projects. Seneca, we are finalizing plans, couple additions and tweaks at the end to get those finalized. Pending a couple permits. We're shooting for construction early fall to get that kicked off. Evergy has completed the first half of the relocation. With the last meeting and the approval of the right-of-way dedication on the east side and south half of Seneca, they'll be able to continue their relocation of that remaining portion. Meridian, still working on the roundabout and the lighting. Substantial completion date for that portion of the project is really July, so we get there close. Brent might be able to elaborate a little more. He was in the mix today with rain. Rodney's groups were out there. I was texting him earlier, and they were working on pumping. They were at Clay, and he said they had finished that up. So what was happening on some of those streets on the east side along the floodway, they have gravity-fed pipes that go through the levee. When the water level in the floodway comes up, those flop gates shut so that the floodway water doesn't back up onto the city. So when those flop gates shut, there's nowhere for that to go until the floodway comes down. I think Sedgwick County and maybe City of Wichita came up this afternoon because we were kind of getting in a predicament of like, hey, this water's not going anywhere. They allowed them to do some pumping. I think Wichita might have provided some pumps. We got some of theirs to pump from those pipes that are blocked up over the levee. So during the meeting, the Clay Street backup, they were done pumping that. So hopefully it should be some. He was in the Mexico most of the afternoon, so if he wants to elaborate, I'll let him. Just wanted to mention that. I'll stand for any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rodney's not here. Good reason. No, I'm just kidding. Barry's not here. Clint, anything else? Christie?
Just real briefly, part of the city's workman's comp is an annual review of our safety practices. We have them coming out tomorrow afternoon to go through everything and make sure that we are doing things safely and keeping our employees safe and doing the right thing. So that is tomorrow afternoon, and hopefully everything will go well and we'll get that gold star again.
Thank you. Brent?
All right, you already heard enough from me, but so Sunday is a very special day. It marks the incredible birth of Councilmember Chris Evans. So happy early birthday on Sunday, June 8th. And so hopefully if you see him out and about, wish him well. So I'll stay for any questions regarding the flooding, kind of summed it up already, but we'll do a quick shout out that I'm really thankful that we had that new regional detention basin in the TIF district. I will say that thing took on a tremendous amount of water that I am not sure where it truly would have gone. And so a lot of Seneca Street flooded as well for the first time since Lloyd can remember, which is a long time. 5th Street flooded. It overtopped at that box culvert. And so that happened as well. But it also helps a lot of times when it comes to Tamarine, everything, getting video, pictures. So then when we're designing Seneca Street, because we're right in the dead center of, about what, 70, 80, 90%, if not more, done on Seneca Street, making sure that we size that new bridge appropriately, that we have all the necessary storm sewer in Seneca installed, and so it can handle rain. I'm not going to say it's going to handle this amount of rain, because this is far past 100-year flooding. This is getting that range of close to maybe 500-year flood if you combine what we received over the weekend as well as in addition to what we're receiving now. So your system, our system, is working great. I think Meridian performed really well. It takes a little time for water to flow, but the storm water system was working and functioning properly. Everything stayed within the areas that it needed to. The only issue we had, of course, when that floodway rose and we didn't get the pumps in quick enough to get that water pumped over. A lot of that has to do with what we're told that we can do as well downstream, because it's all connected. And so we're managing it well now, and looking forward to hopefully a little break in the rain for the next few hours. Dan, for any questions?
Yeah.
I think you alluded to it, but the TIF district was a 100-year or 500-year design. The next question I have is, do they know what kind of rain event we've had over the last 3 or 4 days?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
All right. Is it 100-year, 500-year?
Oh, no, if the designer or the engineer on the...
So the first question is, what was designed? Second question is, what event did we just experience?
I mean, it's all of 200 plus years. And so I bet we're getting probably close to the 500.
Okay.
But what it's designed to, I don't know.
I don't remember either. That's why I'm asking.
What I will say is Prairie Lakes performed beautifully. I mean, Prairie Lakes was absolutely has performed spectacular compared to what it has in the past. And so without that basin and that new, basin that's built out. And so if you recall, during all the grading of the TIF district, we opened up the rest of that basin that's on the northeast side of Prairie Lakes, right on the east side of Phase 3. Without that open, I mean, Prairie Lakes would be in a world of hurt. And so that's holding a lot of water. It's balancing between the two. And even with that flat gate shut, discharging from Prairie Lakes into the floodway, that water backed up into that second basin, and then that basin backs up into the regional basin. So, kind of, leveling off water, it's how it works. So now I will say, I mean, there's, private ponds that were flooding into areas, that we were capturing on this street too, that we've never seen. I mean, that coming across the road and down driveways, and all of a sudden we're trying to handle that in addition to all the water that comes from 93rd Broadway and the northeast side. I mean, it performed well. The chokehold, the choking point was that bridge. And so that bridge on Seneca Street, that's why I went round and round with the Corps of Engineers, that, the Corps only looked at anything to the west of the bridge, not the bridge, anything west of the bridge, not the bridge or east where we have issues, but they only looked from the point on the bridge, and the Senator, Marshall and all that, Estes, all of them, they said, they only focus on, from that bridge west. And so, that chokehold there was the bridge on Seneca. That backed up a lot of the water to the east and then around on 5th. We also found, quite a few fences that have now relocated because they were built in the drainage ways. Most of them without permits half the time. And so, again, it is so critical to get your permit. Please go through the process, because it truly affects other people's properties if those are built in the floodways and drainage ways. And if we don't know where they're at, it's hard to handle flooding events like we've experienced. So there's a long-winded answer to your question.
Yeah, you're right. I don't have any more questions.
I will say that floodway, I mean, It almost got to the bottom of those bridges on 77th and Fifth Street today. And really huge shout out, to the county, especially Lynn Packer and Scott Linnebeck and the city of Wichita as well for their assistance in helping us out and always being available and answering the call whenever needed. So Commissioner Beatty reached out, hours before. I think it was around noon maybe. Commissioner Beatty had already reached out to us and making sure that everything was flowing.
Amen.
A few years ago, I don't know if you were here yet or if it was a previous one, the Corps of Engineers was talking about uncertifying the floodway levee because it needed to be raised up. Have you heard anything more about that?
Those discussions were prior to me. When it comes to that certifying and not certifying that floodway, a lot of that has to do with big ditch. And that started in 2016.
Thanks, sir.
Yep, thank you.
Moving on to staff reports.
Everybody.
Oh, governing body report, excuse me. I'm getting anxious, it's my turn. I just want to thank our city crew, city guys. Nobody's here, but I've had compliments from neighbors. Our guys were out cleaning any of the gutters that were getting stopped up or drains in the streets. I just want to reiterate what we put in the water bills about putting your grass clippings in the street and your leaves in the street. If they plug up one of them drains, you're gonna have floods in your basement. Or if you block off the drainage easement with a fence. Somebody actually posted a picture of that. I couldn't believe it. Section of fence, water just barreling out and pooling up in their backyard. So that's our guys did a good job, I think. Some of them are still out working. So I know we had a lot of water, a lot of comments, a lot of stuff that just didn't make any sense at all. There's no way. Just look at the news. 4 cities around ours was flooded just as bad or more. And but I'm proud of our guys. They did a good job. Other than that, I was going to wear my snorkel mask to the council meeting tonight, but I decided that would probably be in poor taste. So. That's all I have. So, Ron?
I have nothing.
Oh, I have one more thing. I forgot all about it. Welcome Amy to the council seat. Just kind of went by. She's old hat already. Robert?
I want to thank the staff tonight for their reports on the budgeting. Great work as always. Thank you very much. I know that takes a lot of time to put that together, and I appreciate you all breaking that down and getting that to us. So thank you again for all your hard work on that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Amy?
I wrote it down so I wouldn't forget. I wanted to take a minute to sincerely thank Mayor Truman for selecting me to serve on the council. Also, thank you to Christy and the rest of the city staff and the fellow council members for the warm and gracious welcome. I won't go into deep detail, but just a little bit about my history. I'm a 3rd-generation Valley Center resident. I graduated from Valley Center High. I have 3 kids who also graduated from Valley, and now I have 4 grandkids in the district. So the community means a lot to me, especially across-generational. I've always had a passion for community service. I spent several years serving as a patient advocate at the state level. I have a nursing background, so I'm new to city government, so I'm eager to learn and to grow and to contribute. And I am open to any feedback, suggestions, ideas from fellow council members, city staff, or residents.
Last meeting, I told you about the local emergency preparedness expo, which will be at Century 2. We have had a change of date. It will be on September 13th, not the 20th, so it won't interfere with Fall Festival. Yay.
Chris? Oh,
I have nothing. Thank you.
I'm good, thank you.
Matt?
Ditto on all the staff for out working and stuff. That's something you can't plan for, just like a water main break or something like that. They could have plans this afternoon, this evening with their families, and they're here working. I've had to do that. That's an inconvenience. That's what you sign up for when you go to work for Public Works and Government. And also welcome to Council Lady Reed.
Thank you.
And also, I'm kind of excited about the budget thing, Kelly Arnold. After what I asked at the last meeting, that'd be kind of interesting to see if we can lower a little bit the levy. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say for raising your right hand. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Okay,